VeeFam, welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I'm so delighted to be here today with the Director of Events and Brand Activations for VeeFriends, Miss Jen Luck. Jen, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. Glad I
Thank
can
you so
be.
much for doing this. I know we were just talking about, we're doing this on May. What is this? May 13th. Summer is just weeks away, and that's VeeFriends' time to shine with so many things. Chrome is coming out, and I'm sure you're very busy, so I appreciate it. Um, I don't know, like we'll get into this. I don't know exactly when we met. I know I met you at Chrome and Cocktails, which was one of my favorite events of all time.
Yeah.
But were you around for Art Basel, like in Miami?
Yes, that was my
Okay.
first event. I started like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before that. I started right after the Shack Gift Goat event, and that was I think the first event the events department, like the official events department kicked off. I started like a week after that, and they were like, "Here, Jen, just you've activated Art Basel before. Can you figure this out?" And that was my first event. There was no venues, nothing. At the time,
Amazing.
yeah, Vayner 3 had their whole beach
Yeah, it was so
takeover.
good.
Yeah, working close with like Avery and Dio over there. Literally my first call on day one was to Nick Dio, which was fine because he had a 732 area code, which is also New Jersey. But yeah, day one started. Mila and Savan were like, "Yeah, you're not using it. We need to execute an event." And I was like, "Okay." And I just finished my previous job that Friday, and I was actually in New Orleans. So I got off a plane Friday. I was in Maine for my cousin's wedding that weekend and started work on Monday and jumped right into planning Art Basel. So yeah,
Like many stories in VeeFriends, just getting thrown right into the fire.
yep.
Um,
Yeah, I think
amazing.
that
So,
was like 2 weeks later.
God, so I think we did meet because I remember like talking with Mylene and Savan, and like they were like, "Oh yeah, this person just joined the team," and it was you.
Yep.
I had to get that out just because it was on my mind. But let's take it back.
Yeah.
Let me put on my Mr. Messer VFam Sessions hat. I'd love if you to start at the beginning, if you don't mind sharing a couple minute comic book one of Jen, where you grew up, your story, everything before the first time you heard VFriends or Gary V.
Yeah, I can. Comic book one, man. It all started a long, long time. We can real go. No, I won't do that. In a world far, far away called South Brunswick, New Jersey, also Middlesex County, part of Middlesex County. That is where I am from, born and raised. But I grew up in New Jersey, and that is where I am based still to this day. But born and raised, grew up in South Brunswick. Shout out to that good old South Brunswick Vikings, but went to college in Virginia. Didn't know what I really wanted to do. Always came back to kind of the business side of sports. Anything I wanted to do, I thought I wanted to be a history teacher and coach field hockey. Thought I wanted to be a sports psychologist. Thought I wanted to do all these different things, but at the end of the day, it turned around coming back to sports. So I ended up majoring in marketing and sports management. And then the great thing about JMU is they force you to do a lot of practicums and internships as part of your degree. So while I was doing that, I interned for the New York Red Bulls one summer in college, which is the Major League Soccer team here in New Jersey. That opened the door to me to kind of the soccer world. And at that time, kind of MLS, so that would be 2013. MLS was still a very young league, I would say, really figuring out its stride. Right at that time, too, was doing a big Boston Consulting Group, understanding who its audience was, how to kind of hit this next phase of growth. Because the league started kind of coming out of the 1994 World
Mm,
Cup, which is very first full circle as we hit this
yeah, of
soccer.
course.
So then I graduated college, was like, hey, Red Bulls would love to come work for you. But they were like, hey, Jen, we don't have anything. We would love you. They, though, kind of went down a path of two worlds. I was also in applying to be working down in Florida at Disney World or go back home. So I actually ended up taking an internship down at ESPN Wide World of Sports in the recreation world down at Disney World, and I learned a lot there. That's how I got my grit and grind in event operations and really learned. And so it's kind of funny how I end up working for VeeFriends and kind of another
Yeah, that's
IP.
very cool.
But I learned a lot from the mouse. And then after I did that, I called the Red Bulls again and was like, still, please help me get a job. And they're like, Jen, we still don't have anything, but the league does. So they introduced me to some folks over at Major League Soccer at the league office side. There was an opening in the event sport department. That's kind of where I just came from with Disney. Really fell in love with event operations and kind of how events does everything, and you always have to be on the ball and see everything. And I got a job there, and I spent the first 5+ years of my career at Major League Soccer. It was a really exciting time, sport, and it hit a real big growth phase that I would say, and it's still growing. But that's where the league hit its 30th year at that time, or 30th season. David Beckham just retired, and then he got his team in Miami, and now look at the team in Miami.
Right.
And Donovan was playing too and retiring. So um, there was a lot of fun things going on and a lot of expansion teams coming in. I see the league now, and I'm just like, it's so crazy to see. I worked on like LAFC's expansion and Austin's expansion and all these great teams, and so they're so successful and doing so well. But when I was there, I oversaw and managed kind of all the event operations for the marquee events. So MLS All-Star Week, MLS Cup, Generation Adidas Cup, which was like my little baby, which is just like this giant youth soccer tournament and all the things. So really, and everything from start to finish. So from the gameplay, the game stadium side of things, to sponsorship activations, to fan fest, to hospitality from the B2B side, to credentialing, to transportation, to hotels. So
Everything.
big, everything. The big orchestra. I call it like just, you're the conductor of an orchestra and you're just making the music. Hopefully it sounds really good. So that was my role there. After my time there, moved over to consulted a little bit, moved over to a small agency in North Jersey where I oversaw kind of integrated marketing for a few Fortune 500 companies. It was a good time to get some agency experience in my background. I also went to school during that time and got my MBA, which a lot of people don't realize. So that was fun.
And that was at Rutgers, I saw.
And that was at Rutgers. Yeah, so back at a good little shout out to back to my roots of New
That's
Jersey, the good old Scarlet Knights. And then spent some time there, and then I actually left there and went to the Spring Hill Company, which is LeBron James and Maverick Carter media company, which actually they recently just merged with Fullwell Entertainment. But when I was working there, it was just the Spring Hill Company. And my job there was, people are like, what? You're going to branded content? You have no content experience or, branded content. It was really the reason why I went over there was to take kind of this great content that the Spring Hill Company, which is the umbrella, which is the Spring Hill Company, Uninterrupted, and then LeBron James himself, his like kind of media house that in all his deals, everything, and the robot company, everything that they're creating and making it kind of 360. So like when Toyota is putting out just a piece of spending this, great investment, like it's not just getting put on regular distribution. Like, how are you really thinking about how it's going out? And can there be an experiential extension to it? Can it be also, can an activation be added to it and it shows up at Super Bowl or NBA All Star? And then then you're filming content on top of that. And so it's really this 360 way of branded content. So I was working on that from the client solutions team side of things, which no one else, my boss was thinking that way too, but her and I were the only two kind of people tasked with working with clients on doing that. And that was a lot of fun. That was using a different side of my brain that I kind of never got to use
Sounds really
before.
cool.
And it was a lot of fun working with different clients there. And then I only was there for a short time because Milling called me, and who's a former EVP of the events department at VeeFriends. She was like, hey, and we worked together at Major League Soccer. She's like, hey, I'm doing this crazy. Have you heard of this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk? And I was like, or Gary V. And I was like, yeah, the guy. He screams into phones on social media. But I've heard of Vayner Sports. I'm very well aware of Vayner Media being in the space,
Yeah.
So he's like, and Savan and my friend Savan and Zach, and I knew of Zach. I knew of them and all that stuff. And she's like, Savan and I are going on this crazy adventure to start up like the events department at VeeFriends. And she's like, and I need your help and we need you. And I was like, okay. She's like, but think about it. Like, she's like, this is when VCon was going on, and we're doing a bunch of different things. Basically, VCon's like a mini all-star week, but like with like more conference style, South by Southwest meets what a Coachella meets, and he wants to take it over. And she was sending me videos from VCon 1 and all these things. Basically, I talked to like Kneeling again. I talked to the HR director at the time, and then Savan called me, and then they were like, "Great, and you can start in like 2 weeks." And I was like, "Not really." I have to like talk to. I had to put in my 2 weeks with my current job, but I can like figure it out. So, and that was pretty much. But I did start, I think, in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I just had to wrap up some stuff with my current job, and
Right.
funny enough, I was planning actually an activation for the Spring Hill Company at Art Basel. So I was like in the middle of planning that.
Interesting.
Um, and then again, then in full circle, I start, and they're like, "Great, we need you to plan. No dilly dallying. Day one, we need you to plan Art Basel activation for VeeFriends for a token holder event.
And
Go."
that was the Access Art
Now
event,
the Access Art
which is a
event.
very cool event. So for
Yeah.
those of us that weren't around, spec holders got invited to come and have it was a quick little like fireside chat with Gary, and then everyone got like art materials to create a drawing, to create a piece of art, and they made it into an NFT, which was so cool. And running parallel, that was at the Art Basel event, which is much larger
Yes.
thing. And then Vayner 3 was obviously connected in
Yep.
that big party. So very cool. Obviously, there's no bad time in Miami.
The best part too is like I listen, the events world, you always figure it out, but they're literally like I in a week and a half, I'm on the phone with like everyone from the tech team, learning how we make artwork and NFT. I'm learning a whole new side of technology. They're just like, me like, it's fun. You hired this girl who has no Web3 background. I mean, neither
Well,
did
no one did at the
no
time,
one did.
really.
No one did. I mean, Mealing Spa didn't either. And we're just like, that goes into, here comes VCon too. It was great, warm up for me when I had to figure out, work with our tech team on all the ticketing aspects of VCon. But I'm just like, I'm sitting in my apartment at the time, literally drawing, like, I was doing like hand turkeys they're probably still around too, and actually like they probably live somewhere too on like OpenSea. But I was drawing hand turkeys and sending them to someone in tech to make the hand turkeys NFTs, and being like, is this working? Like scanning them in from
That's
like a
amazing.
printer, and yeah, or taking photos, and we were figuring out the way to do it. But yeah.
That's amazing. So like, and just rewinding a tiny bit.
Mhm.
So you get the call. Do you want to work with us for this thing called VeeFriends? Very different in many, many ways than something
Mhm.
like an MLS or Spring Hill. Like, what were your like initial thoughts when you're like, obviously, I imagine you did your homework and like looked up the website and like socials and things, and it's like very, very niche with a very, I don't know your understanding at the time, but obviously like a very small cult following of diehards. What were your initial thoughts of like the pros and cons maybe, or like the just what you saw in the opportunity in working for this like scrappy startup, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, a lot of times scrappy startups scare people. I think to me that's like an exciting opportunity. I feel like I come from one when you work in, people think sports are so glamorous and sports have so much money and all this. No, everyone's working on like very minimal budgets and like you're in the dirt no matter what, and so you're figuring it out with very limited resources. So that I came from in that sense and understanding you gotta figure it out. I think knowing that part didn't scare me at all, and that was more like exciting. And then two, kind of building from the ground up something new from an event side of things is also, and like building the playbook and building the experiences, whether that's for the community or whether that was for, B2C to grow, to direct to consumer to grow the brand, or is that from a B2B standpoint to like grow business relationships, like building that playbook and strategy based on where Gary and team are thinking, like that was exciting as well. And then the more I looked at, obviously, Gary is an extremely successful entrepreneur and has built these successful agencies and businesses, and being able to directly learn and work with someone like that is not an everyday opportunity. And so that obviously was very exciting to me as well.
That makes a ton of sense.
And it is very niche and very different. And so, listen, everyone in my life was like, "What are you doing? Where are you? You're going to where?
Yeah,
You're going to
it's
a like everyone thinks I'm working for like a Sesame play, like almost like a Sesame Street." And I'm like,
yeah,
"No, it's not like that." But
it's so different, just the iterations of like what is VeeFriends and like, well, do you know Gary V? Like, no. Okay, well, do you know Web3? No. Like, it's hard to explain depending on who you're talking to. But I'm sure with all of the booth conversations you've had over the last few years, you've polished up your version on what is VeeFriends.
yes.
So, and another cool like I'll just kind of like go to the clouds for a second. Another cool layer of your whole story is like it's a Web3 company that started an events division 1 year in
Hmm.
to bring it IRL, and now fast forward when no one was doing that really. Like Veecon was an anomaly,
Hmm.
even though it's important part of the story. But now, like flash forward 2026, like Gary is hammering in his mainstream content, hammering the experiential experience,
Hmm.
live events, face to face, and you guys have had a few years to like really figure it out and upgrade. So with you at the helm, so that I think just that's super cool. So going back, you take the job, you're jumping into Basel, VCon's right around the corner. Like your first interaction with Gary, what was that like? Take us there for a second. Like if you can remember, like was was there a talking point, a lesson, something that like was a surprising factor about him that you remember?
I'm trying to remember what my first actual. So I actually think I was talking to Trouty about this. So I think back in the day, my MLS days, I think I might have interacted with them because
Hmm.
VaynerMedia did work. And so I think there was like I might have like passing, might have been with the VaynerMedia side, which is kind of very small world. We might have been in the same place and met, but that wouldn't have been like a very small interaction. But like my first interaction with Gary, though I don't, it was obviously art, like it was like a literally a preview call into the Art Basel weekend. And it was like, "Hi, I'm Jen. Here's what's going on at this." And he's like, "Oh, you just started? Okay, great. Welcome." It was like just a call like this, like just very
Yeah.
like this, something like that. And then obviously seeing him in Miami. But then, I think a lot of people get nervous about potentially working with or for someone who is maybe level of CEO or president. And I know for a fact I was probably like nervous my first call or something. But after that, never again. I think like what he preaches, like what you see him say on social media or what he projects of himself being available and an empathetic leader, and you can literally go up to him and talk to him at any time. Like that is how he is to everyone in the office.
Mhm.
Like, and it's kind of, I remember I literally said it in the car one time, and I was like, I have never worked for a company where this is like actually how it is. And we were just at a dinner last week, and we were sitting around a table, and like, he's like, we're all sitting there as like the leadership dinner, and we stopped talking about work, and we're just like all talking about life. And
Yeah.
and it was so much fun because we're all just like talking about life, but like he's like telling everyone it's important to have a life, and like everyone's like everyone, he wants everyone to have a life, and like family is so important, and he loves to hear about everyone's family stories, and we're all talking about everyone's family dynamics. He's talking about his family dynamics, so it's just like everyone is a human. And even as me as a manager, like I kind of preach the same exact thing. We're all human, and so like we should treat each other like humans. And at the end of the day, like your kind of best companies are people who act as humans and like treat others as humans with respect and warmth and things like that, because you just want people to be happy. And so I think it goes a long way. And when people are happy, I think they do a better job at their
Of course.
at work.
That's amazing. I
Um,
appreciate you sharing all that. And it's just so nice to hear, the few years I've been doing this show and talking to people that like have a different perspective of than, what the community has. Like it always checks out. Like there's no like other shoe dropping. Like it is what it is, and it's always been the same.
I mean, and this, I think I have a very interesting, we talked about this last week too. I mean, I spend like on the road too. I mean, you see me running around doing a lot of stuff, but I'm also a lot of times, I check in, and when there's a selfie line or he's talking to a lot of people, I see a lot of people, the people he interacts with, and kind of the stories he takes and the stuff. And like, that he genuinely listens to every single person and remembers that story too. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, I've seen him recall people's stories that he met
Yeah.
like 3, 4 years ago, and I was like, you've talked to thousands and thousands. How did you remember that? I don't remember what I did like a week
Yeah.
ago. Like generally, like after seeing it now for almost 4 years, it's remarkable. And I understand why it is. So it's like people a lot of times, you can see some people like really hate, and I know
Right.
he's incredible at suffocating hate, but that
Yeah.
is something that's not there. It's real. And I will say that is probably a huge strength of him as a leader, to also put out for the people he expects to lead as well, to make sure they're leading with empathy and joy and things like that. So I know a lot of us at VeeFriends who are defined as leaders, like that's something I reflect on almost every day, is to make sure like leading with, light, joy, making sure empathy, and things like that. That's something I've learned from him.
Mm. Yeah, he's quite a guy. Um,
Yeah.
there, there's I don't want to say unicorn, but I think that's the only like word that I could just use to describe him. But
He'll still hate talk the Red Sox to me every day if he could. But it's okay. I'll take it. I don't even bring up the Patriots because that's too much hate. I
yeah,
can't.
yeah, you don't want to go down that road.
But we don't even bring up Boston sports. I just leave it at it. We don't talk about it. As you see my Boston Red Sox thing in the background, you can
I
probably.
saw. Well, I also want to call out when I was doing my homework here. You were on Twitter early, like back in the mid 2010s,
I
posting about
was.
the Red
I'm not.
Sox, and then your last tweet before like a decade hiatus was the World Cup is coming to. I think it was from 2018. The World Cup is coming to
Mhm.
the U.S. And then you went radio silent,
Yep,
and
that
then
sounds.
you came back last summer around this
Yes.
time.
Around this time, yeah, because everyone that I work with was like, I can't believe you're not on Twitter. And
So it
I was
was like peer pressure. I was
it was a little bit of
wondering.
peer pressure. It was a little bit of peer pressure. Yeah. So again, back to Jamie. So we used to have to do like that was like peak, like when Twitter was really starting to like blossom, like probably like, so I was in college from 2009 to 2013. That's like right when it was really people were figuring it out. That's also when you used to tweet like about your personal life and your
Yeah.
personal thoughts. So there's probably some really weird stuff on that timeline, but in college, I remember being in like marketing classes, the early days of like, sports marketing classes, and we used to have to like do content campaigns of learning how to use like, social media to grow like sports scenarios.
Right.
And that was probably one of the smartest professors I ever had. And she was just she's still working at JMU, but like she just saw what Twitter was becoming and she was like, you guys all need to figure this out. So start figuring it out. And she forced us to like all create Twitters during that time.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and full story is like I had to obviously I was working for MLS at the time when the World Cup got announced, but we had to help put like MLS was part of that bid committee back in the day, and we had to pull all the event data of like here's what a major event looks like in a soccer stadium. Here's what a major event could look like here, and the successes that it's done. So we had a lot of celebrations in that office in 2018. So yeah, it was a good time.
Amazing. What a great professor.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out
You
Alyssa.
know, you know Andy's story with his professor?
Uh, from the wine, right? He
Yeah.
had, yeah,
He
yeah.
he discovered Gary through his professor making him watch Wine Library TV,
And actually, so Andy went
which
to
is also
Tech.
Virginia, I think.
Yes, he did. He went to Virginia Tech, which isn't far from where I went to school. And actually, my friends or friends of friends went to Virginia Tech as well and took that same class. And so just I was out visiting them last summer and they're like, "Do you know that Gary we took the class at Tech and the wine class, we just were drinking wine the whole time. But Gary came to our class, and it was like in like 20, it would probably be like 2012, 2011 that
Wow,
that
that's
would have
really cool.
happened. Yeah. So I was like, Andy, my friends were in that class too. That was like a very popular Virginia Tech class, apparently.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You get
Mhm.
to the tastings come into play.
Yeah.
I wanna jump back on the timeline real
Yeah.
quick. I think let I want to like treat Veecon as it's like his own animal. And one of the conversations that like will never leave my brain, the last day of VeeCon 2022, so VeeCon 1,
Yeah.
I was talking to D-Rock like as it was wrapping up and he was running around all weekend, like literally following Gary, and I was like, "Oh, so like it must be nice to, you get a chance to like breathe for a little bit after this." And he's like, "No, we're meeting tomorrow to like talk about VeeCon 23." And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, that makes sense because that's how you guys roll. VeeCon 23, huge, huge upgrade. Like the feedback on the ground there live and just like talking about like reminiscing on this show in the last couple of years, like that is a common theme, like 100%, like everyone loved that. So I'd love to jump in there because if you're coming in the fall of 22, you're obviously taking part of VeeCon 23 and then 24. So I'd love to hear, and then sometime in there, like you're going from working just on the team to like being the head of the team. So I'll let you take that VCon ball for those couple of years and run wherever you'd like, from your perspective.
Yeah. I love Veecon. Like I do. People probably think I like don't like Veecon. I really do. I have Veecon has become a special place for me. So yeah, so that VeeCon 22, that was yeah, VeeCon 1 is 2022. And obviously we weren't a part of that. But you know what? I heard about it through the news and through event like Biz Bash and all this stuff, like the experiential and events newsletters, things like that. And like turning that in, in again VeeFriends fashion and hearing Andy's side and Rips and May and their stories from like they turned that event in like in Zach now that like they literally in 3 months they turned that event around, which is
Insane.
incredible. That is like really to that magnitude. Also with no official events team and no events experience, God bless them. Like that is incredible. They signed sponsorships, they had speakers, like all that. Like it really is. Thank God Gary like was like, all right, we need a team. So but he had a bigger plan though anyway, and that's why he needed a team. So when we came in, we came in from a different lens, and there was like some agency partners and things like that from 2022 that were already working on 2023, but kind of Mealing Savannah and I already off the get-go had like a different POV on what we think it kind of should look like, even from like a layout and how things are functioning and all this stuff. And so we kind of asked Gary if we could, and Andy, if we could like scrap essentially all the work that had been done from May to September and just redo it. And so come like no literally the first week I started, we re-signed all new people. We re-signed like I also the first week I started, I was in Indianapolis. So they were like, "Great. Jen, also here's a flight." We're getting to Indianapolis and we were on a flight and between Savon Mealing and I, we have a lot of different friends and
Hmm.
agency friends and contractors in the industry, and we like just called a bunch of people to answer RFPs. And Indianapolis is a huge sports market too, between Final Four and really college sports, but also, Indy 500 and things like that. So they are very well equipped to handle kind of big events and have a big network as well. And then a lot of our networks have done a ton of events in there too. So we were just like all hands on deck. And I think by literally by January 1st, had a whole new team for 2023 Veecon. And it was the best. I'll still stand by it. It was the best decision we could have made because obviously you guys had great feedback on it. We know we made the right decision and all those things. Was it scary? For sure. But literally then at that point we had 5 months to plan a whole event, and an event Feeling Savannah and I never also went to.
Yeah,
So, but it was
that's wild.
super like but it was a great challenge to have. And it was super fun. And also on top of that, most of the agencies except one that we re-signed had never worked on VCon, or contractors had never worked on VCon before either. So now we're just like diving in. But I think that's why you bring on the people that, or agencies or contract, anything that you can really kind of trust and who really have the right experience. So, and I knew like we did that in a heartbeat once, because after 2023, like we were able to pull that off in like 5 months, and it improved from 2022. And then 2024 was like almost, that was the same team to a certain degree. We trimmed a few edges and we got even leaner and smarter and like even more like we figured out the flow even better. And
Hmm.
I was like, that was just, we were like cruising at that point. But yeah, so VCon is an awesome event. I think even we brought on a lot of people from like as independent contractors who come from, the sports and entertainment world, because there's a really good entertainment side of things, working with talent, the level of talent, things like that. But they were all like, this is just such a cool event to work on, right? What other event can you have where we're figuring out how to put slides down stadium steps?
Mm.
Or we're building, the year before there's a Ferris wheel, or there's, giant inflatables places, because there's like this festival style element to a business conference. And really, where else is there all these little CEOs, CMOs, some of the top entertainment in the world in one place? And that's kind of that Vayner Gary V element that no one else brings in. And so, yeah, I still to this day, like Gary said in the last VCon, this isn't the last VCon. I look forward to the next VCon because I said 23, 3, yeah, in Indy, or no, 22 in Indy.
Uh,
No, what?
20, 20,
20,
22 Minneapolis, 23 Indy,
3
24
Indy,
LA.
24 LA. Okay, yeah, 23 Indy. There was some sleepless nights, 24-hour. We did pull 24-hour shifts in Lucas Oil Stadium, so I hadn't done that in a long time. Um, but it was completely worth it. And then 24 LA was great. I thought like that was super successful for us. Like again, the team coming back and like really figuring it out. Um, and it was a different kind of layout, but it was that campus style kind of worked. And then again, and not being the last Veecon, I look forward to when Gary decides to bring it back because I do think it's a really awesome event. And when it does come back, I think it'll be even to the next level. We've even talked about like what's the next level, and we're really building on that. And I think everyone's gonna be really happy with what that looks like.
Yeah, I think one of the through lines was that the very loud, outspoken, caring community feedback like was heard and like
Yeah.
executed on. Community area, like one of the best backdrops of all time is that field day at VeeCon 2 in Indy with like the community stage and like the backdrop of like the mountains
Yeah.
or the water or whatever it was. Like that was amazing. And then you have
Hmm.
the community stage at VeeCon 24, and that's just one example of like many. And I'm sure it's like obviously can't do every one, but to like for it to be heard and like actually is one thing, and then to execute on it is a whole different one when you're, playing at the level you guys are. So shout out to you guys for that.
And I would say like, and I mean, I feel like you might have heard me say this. I know I don't get to talk to a lot of people at events because I'm usually running around, but when I do get a minute to talk to people, I think I always love take it with a grain of salt. Like we are so open to feedback and like because we can't grow without feedback, whether it's positive, like
Hmm.
constructive feedback, positive feedback, all these things. And so like and ideas and like we're here for it. Sometimes we can take it and we can change things and we can make it better. Sometimes I can explain why we weren't able to make the change and like unfortunately like whether it's a safety concern, whether it's a
Hmm.
financial thing, whether it's just a we're just not there yet thing. Because sometimes even in my brain, I'm like I'm ready to go 10 steps ahead and I have to remember like sometimes we're just not there yet. Or it could be something completely different. But I'm always like willing to have a conversation. But I'm like, I think one of the biggest things I've also learned here is that just like feedback is so in an open line of communication with really anyone you consider a community member or a fan of the brand, or even just a bystander just walking by being like, I love events, but here's something I think can be better for your brand activation or your event or things like that. Like, it's so important because we
Mm,
just want to get better and we like want to be better and we want to grow and so it's important.
I love that. So true, and an important reminder for anything. Quick couple of things before we tie the bow on this VCon chapter. Were there any, like thinking back to those 2 years you were there, were there any like fun, now that you look back at it, fun like mini disasters that or fire that had to be put out that you'd be willing to share? And then favorite moment, that's probably an unfair question. Like VCon 1, I know like TLC got COVID or something, and they like had to scrap at the last minute and got Wyclef, which ended up being amazing. So I'm just curious from your purview.
I will say one day I'm gonna write a really great book. Like
I
I've even sat in meetings like between my whole career, like one day I'm just gonna write a sick book when I'm retired. And so like no one can really like yell at me for anything. But between like all the chapters of my life.
I bet.
No. Like one I say like disaster.
Or a fire that was an urgent fire.
Listen, you walk into events thinking of any potential disaster, fire drill, anything, so that like those are already handled. And then you walk like so you're prepared for the ones you didn't prepare for. You know what? I will say at V the one thing I remember uh let's see, Indianapolis, I'm trying to remember. I wasn't I was still at the stadium when the gates opened for field day, but I remember I think that was no. Indianapolis, I just remember when the doors opened for Lucas Oil Stadium, people like, this was my first exposure because I wasn't there for doors opening at field day. I was still like, there was so much going on over at the stadium. I was like, we are not going to be ready for the next day. I was just like, and that's when the overnight happened, all that stuff. But, and we were ready. But when the doors opened for Indianapolis, and I was just like, literally almost got tackled or trampled by people just like sprinting in. And I was just like dodging, but then I'm just like yelling, like, stop running. Because I was just afraid to, like, I was just like, this, people are just gonna get hurt. I'm just like, no one, like, you're not running to anything. Like, you're gonna
Right.
see everything. So that was one. And then two, literally every single pillow, every single like thing was just gone after like 5 minutes. And I've never seen that in my life before. No event before, ever. Like any decorative pillow, anything, people just took it. And I was just like, I've never seen that at, like before, but I understand now. So then VCon, we didn't have that. No, there were no decorative pillows for
Right.
anyone to take.
Nothing to flip.
Nothing to flip. Exactly. But I then it made a lot of sense to me why they that happened. And then VCon 3, one I remember we the day 2, there were really, really long lines over at the Grammy Museum to get up on stage. That was like a really big deal.
Mm.
Like, and we worked so, I mean, we worked so hard on these like stage plans, all this stuff, like traffic flow, I mean, all these things. And we had a great working relationship with the Grammy Museum too. But like you had to elevator up, you had to key the elevators, all this stuff. And then like the whole plan we came up with, apparently like the day of, they just like scrapped our plan and started operating in their own world, which then literally caused lines to come around. And so like everyone's calling me because I'm like operations, production operations. And so I'm getting calls
The
from like
conductor.
Gary, Andy. Everyone's like, Jen, there's a lot, like, why is no one getting up on stage? Because then you're getting calls from sponsors who can't get up there or like, tier one people. And I'm just like, so I spent my whole day at the Grammy Museum basically making sure they then start to follow our plan. And then day 2, which is day 3, because we had a meeting with them that night, and I was like, see what happens when you don't follow our plans that we talked about? That's chaos ensues. We reconvened, redid the flow back to our original plan, and day 3, everyone was flowing like they should. So, but that's like little things. But that was
Yeah.
like a big deal at the time because
In the moment, it's like
in
everything.
the
Yeah,
moment, it was a bad guest experience, and you don't want people to have a bad guest experience.
sure. And in 24, are you, Savan and Mylene are gone in 24. So,
No, no, Savon and Mealing are still there. They're
oh,
still
they
there.
are. Okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't till after. Got it.
Yeah, they left after that. Yeah. But I'm still over, like, my role at both VCons, I oversee like all event operations. So
Got
like
it.
that's because that's like yeah, but I was just like, they're just not listening to me. I made them listen to me, but they just, sometimes venues just go rogue and you just gotta get them back into place. But I got lots of stories. I mean, always. But I think my favorite moment though, but at both VCons is like really it's kind of besides T-Pain at 2024.
Mm,
That was really, I knew he would deliver, but like that was a great concert.
special.
Um and after every event, I have a shot of tequila with my friend, like with the agencies. Also, some of my favorite moments too, because it's just like how we like
To
succeeded
breathe.
to breathe. But always is really kind of seeing everything. Again, I go back to this like giant orchestra. You're like the conductor, or like, and you're putting all the pieces together. Is just like kind of seeing it all flow and like seeing people happy and seeing like really like like it all come together and really like again you're like hearing speaker feedback and they're just like you can't they're happy, people like community members who spent, this is their vacation, they're having the
Mm,
best time and they get to see their friends that they haven't seen in a year, and sponsors are happy, and you literally turned LA Live, which we've all activated at LA Live in various different capacities, into a VCon campus, which is really cool. Not a lot of brands can say you did that. And also, like, that's really fun to do. So yeah, seeing that is a lot of fun. Even in Indy, like turning Lucas Oil Stadium into just VeeCon, like that's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
even field day at the field day, like they every site visit we were on, everyone was like, I have no idea. I just don't picture it. I just do not picture it. And then they all were like, wow, this is really cool. This is really, really cool.
I mean, job well done. Like you can't say it enough. And it's for me, like when someone asks me my favorite VCon, I can't answer it because they're all so different. They all have their own identity,
Hmm.
and they were all just fantastic
Yeah,
for many, many reasons that are the same but also different.
got it.
Um, so on the other, so those are the Super Bowls, and then we also have like the Comic Cons, the nationals, and 23 nationals started with like cardboard signs, and I love the like where we were and where we are now. Like this
Yeah.
past Comic Con, you guys like two-story, like unbelievable setup. I don't know if you just want to like comment on. I mean, that one sticks out in my mind, like all the work that goes into rolling out something like that for a week. I'd love to hear like any BTS on that, but just your overall like because you've been there for the whole thing, like just where you started and where you are now.
Yeah. Actually, we just taught weird. So the office, I think you guys have seen, and Gary made a comment. Like we are currently at Hudson Yard, like our offices are going under construction.
Yep.
So we're packing up right now for the summer, and then we'll be back by the end of the year. But it's been fun because like I've seen some of the old like tablecloths and things like that, and it's crazy because that's just from like 2022, like late 2022, early 23, when we like literally just started kind of implementing some just basic branding for events. But it was like, the green, and even just the first Comic Con we were at, or like after the first national with just the cardboard sign, we came in and we did like the green build that
Yep.
was very like it was like green with the cloud and the characters, and our brand identity has even shifted so much in such a short amount of time. So when we like even when we change our brand identity and our branding, I feel like our activations have to also make sure we're matching that. And so there's so much creative work going in, and so much, DJ and T and Gary and T and Andy are literally creating these like amazing comic books and character storytelling, and if we're not matching that, like we need to support that. um what I think I how I describe events and experience, however you want to call it, events, experiential, brand experiences, it's all the same. But like what the role and my vision of it has always been is like you are the underlying supporter of all these departments and other
Mm,
objectives, right? So like the comics, like we like lift them up, and like products, we lift them up. Like we provide them the infrastructure to like shine and to sell and to all these things. So it's like that's why you always have to be so 360 in your ways of thinking. So like a great example is even like Gary, and this is what Gary's preaching right now, is that like every experiential tool is like has to be content focused, and like that is, but like what as well. So it's just like we're building infrastructures and experiences to generate content, but at the same time we're building to create community, to display our comic talent, to display our new retail products, like, and to also at the same time grow our brand. So it's always thinking in different like ways to really just lift everyone. People think it's just for vibes. A lot of times it can be for vibes, but it's not. That's really what kind of your role is in an events or experiential kind of department on the brand side of things.
mm,
That's what your job is. At least that's what I see my job as. And in that time, I think we are just continuously always challenging ourselves to do that. So when we brought in that in 2023, that new kind of display, that matched our brand at the time. I think that was a really successful introduction to like showcasing what we can be. And then as we're developing and as we're growing and things like that, I think we're always going to be changing and making sure we're making a splash, and but in the same way making sure we're still staying true to who our brand is and
Mm.
our brand identity at the time. So I even think like I've been working on our national build right now, which I'm going to show Gary this week. Like he has an idea. I think people are going to be like, this is it's going to be different, but it's going to be very true to who we are and still a lot of fun. Like, but it's going to push, it's going to, like I said, it's going to lift like every department up, and it's to highlight Chrome. It's going to highlight all our content. It's going to highlight our live team. It's going to highlight who VeeFriends is, and like
Mm.
really it's going to highlight like, all right, we're here year 5. You still don't know who VeeFriends is? That's a problem. So,
Yeah, it's hearing you talk for the last few minutes is just makes me have a newfound, and I hope the listeners have a newfound appreciation for you because we see like on the ground like you running around doing all the things, but like thinking about it as a lens where it's like there's so much going on with this brand and like you have to showcase all of it with a
mhm.
certain amount of space and a certain amount of money and a certain amount of time. Hats off to you.
Are you
So
going to the national? What are you going anywhere this summer?
I am going. I'm gonna go to my first national. So in
All
my house,
right.
I've always been the VCon person. My wife Chelsea has always been the Comic Con national person.
Okay.
So she's never been a VCon. This is my first time. I'm gonna make national. So I'm very excited.
Nice. The national will be
And
cool.
yeah, very excited, and maybe a little Comic Con too. You know, we'll never
Yeah.
know. How many people are on the events team right now?
Right now, it's just
You and
technically
Corso?
me and Corso. Corso is like I steal Corso. It's Corso too. Is like half on the team. We share Corso because Corso's a jack of all trades. So
Sure.
yeah. So I would say me and Corso right now, and then but I pull. You know what? It's yeah, and then I pull in support during peak time. So like Jess Mineo gets pulled in a lot because she has
Yeah.
some production back.
Courtney,
Courtney,
Rich,
yeah.
Ross.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Here's a fun question, and this is a lot of times people give like the V friends like, oh, you know, we're a team, everyone, but in the thick of it, when like the booth is crowded, and we've all seen the busy booths,
Mm,
like people need help, people are asking questions, people they're interacting with the brand for the first time, and it's like a little mini orchestra, like you have to be a little conductor yourself. Who is
mhm.
like the best, or who was like the most surprising, like this person is amazing in like in the weeds, in the thick of it, like handling customers, like, oh, that guy's there and he might leave if I don't give him attention in 4 seconds, like who that you've worked with like needs a shout out for being like amazing in the weeds in the booth,
Like in the thick of it.
in the thick of it.
I could do a few. I could really do a few because I will say a few things. So events life is not for everyone. It's hard. It is really hard. Like me, I'm immune to it. Like you could put me, you could just put me through it. Like I'm fine. Long days, long nights. I come home, I sleep for like 20 hours, but that's what I do. But like it's really hard to be on your feet and talking for like 12 hours a day and then wake up and do it again.
Yeah.
And it's not for like I understand all that. And you have to like see people, catch people.
Sure.
There's sometimes it's hard. I would say, I mean, Corso is after, he's been like working, I mean, he's been working on events for like going to them and stuff since he joined VeeFriends, so that's like 5 years. But really through the thick of it, like me, putting it on him for the last like year, he's really learned a lot and stepped up and even kind of putting it on him to like own and some stuff so he can always if I have to step away he can kind of step up and do things,
Hmm.
which is really awesome. So shout out to Corso. May New will never let someone walk away without being introduced to VeeFriends. So May, also jack of all trades and best onboarder, she will run to you if you don't have a free sticker in your hand or you don't have basically, you don't know if you don't know what VeeFriends is. May has run up, like, my fiance even walked through New York Comic Con, and I was like, I did him as a test. Like, I was like, just let's see if anyone comes up to you. I just did almost like what's it called? Like a secret shopper.
Yeah,
And
that's
May like
amazing.
ran up to him.
It's so funny.
So May always, you can always count on May. I mean, so that is someone who I always want working our booths and traveling, even though she likes to be boots on the ground, not traveling. She's getting dragged everywhere this summer.
Oh, that's some good alpha.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she doesn't even officially know it yet, but she so that may be alpha to her too. Let's see who else. Jess Mineo too also can just run a booth very well, but that comes with her production background. So last year she's I think officially a year in, but last year I think she can just like she's very good at seeing what's going on. And she's been on the road a little bit for card shows, a lot of it actually. So she's really great. Also, Jack of all trades. She can be live, she can do events, she can make deals, she can onboard people. She's really great at onboarding people in the hobby to VeeFriends because she has so many
Sure.
connections in the hobby. And she's done that actually. She's onboarded a ton of people from her world into our world. And then, who doesn't get enough love? And I really appreciate him at our events. Johnny Wren. Johnny Wren will stand there to his own. I've literally told Wren before, Wren, you stand there, you sell, and you don't let them leave. Or you stand there, you onboard, and you don't let them leave. And the man has literally not left. And he's like, asked me if he can leave. I'm like, Wren, yes, you can go to the bathroom. You don't
That's
have to
amazing.
act like to the point where he just does not leave because he's like so Wren also who
Shout out
does
to
not
Ren. Ren does
shout-
not get enough love.
no, Ren does not get enough love, but Ren
Forever underrated.
crushed our events. He did the first national last year, absolutely crushed, and then we dragged him to West Coast Card Show last year, and he also crushed. So he also doesn't know it yet, but he'll be probably on the road this summer too. Um, but yeah, not enough love.
I know that's an unfair question to call it one
It
person
is,
because
but I think
everyone.
it's good to always listen. Adam Rips, again, you'll always get the same people because Adam Rips is one of a kind too. Adam will just run everywhere, but he's also being told a million different things. But I think you see too the events you guys go to. We are a team. I think everyone's doing everything, but there are people who just are built different for events
Mm.
and work really hard. And our whole team works really hard, but it's it's long days, long hours, and so I appreciate when some people can step up a little bit more.
And I imagine it's a double-edged sword with such a diehard, faithful, knowledgeable community. They're there taking up physical space, hanging out, lingering, maybe a little too long, but when in need, like I can't think of anyone that would be around that wouldn't like jump in to help, be super
Nope.
knowledgeable, help on board, give some cards, like whatever. So that's at play too. But definitely
And they
taking up
take
physical
advantage
space
of
from
it.
what I hear.
They do, but we've come up with a little bit of a strategy though of how to
I
utilize.
heard.
Listen, I'm working with another person, Jeremy, who's also great. Like Jeremy, I use Jeremy to my advantage of finding our community strengths and Gary gives people tasks too. Gary will be like, Rob, take these cards and go give them out to 15 people, or
Mhm.
go give them out to people on the floor. And I don't want to see you again. So like, and then come back, and then I'll talk to you. Like there is, I mean, I think are tapping into at more of our events. We're definitely tapping into community members as onboarding tools as well. Like we love to hang out and we're trying to figure out more ways that we can hang out, but also like you just said, like our greatest asset is having a whole 50 brand ambassadors standing in front of our booth.
Sure.
And so how do we use those 50 free brand ambassadors
Yeah.
to help us because unfortunately we don't even have a staff of 50 at VeeFriends. So here we
Right.
go. Like how do we so we've have I will say that is one thing we've definitely gotten better at doing the last few years. And I think people like it. And then we find and then when we had people at the booth at the tables last year. I feel like some people got to sell some of their cards. They got to
Yeah.
onboard. It was a whole, I, I don't know.
It's there's not too many communities like the VFam here.
Yeah. For sure.
It's so fun. I'm seeing we're over time. Do you have like 5, 10 more minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to Daniel. I'll tell him I'm running a few minutes late.
Oh,
Another
Daniel. Tell him I
OG.
said hello.
I will.
Daniel's really been in the shadows in the last 18 months. I feel
I know.
like we need I know he's doing a lot. I feel like we need like a Daniel guest on like GMV Friends or something. Or maybe do another round of this, Daniel. Um,
Yeah, there you go. He may be on the another little alpha. He'll probably be on the road a bit this summer too.
okay.
Gonna be out there. He's making a return.
Yeah, I think we need
Put in the
more
family. I
Daniel.
put in the family leave request so that he can come.
Okay. We need more Daniel selfies with the community out there on the
There you
timeline.
go.
Last summer was crazy. Like you guys really elevated like Chrome craziness. That you went the Chrome tour, but like I don't want to like lead you in that direction, but has there been like a moment or brand activation where you like kind of like pinch yourself and was like, wow, like this is really happening. Like we really got something here.
Yeah. I don't know if what I think, actually one of the most humbling things I think is on Chrome launch, so it's this time last year, was when it will come. It's humbling because Gary, we were doing the Chrome tour. Gary was literally, as he does, we were going to one stop, but he went to a schoolyard, like not it was like kids walking around, like kids were getting out of school, and he was giving out packs. He was like free money, free money. And these kids didn't want it though. They were just like, I don't know what VeeFriends is, whatever. And they're like, free money, free money. And then a kid though came like running back and was like, "Wait, I want it." He's like, "No, you're too late," because he like clearly looked it up and saw what like the market like what was
Yeah.
going on. So that was like humbling to see. One, it's always like, he's listen. I get rejected all the time when I like try and get people. I don't know what VeeFriends is. I don't want this, or I get hustled by a kid. It's either one or the other. I don't.
Right.
There's like no in between for me. But so like that was good because then on the complete flip you then see literally what's going on. I think like 3 weeks later, we were in Orlando for Collecticon, or it was like 3 weeks or 2 weeks later. And that was like the first like show we went to where Chrome was live. And we sold out of all Chrome in like, and not even community members. Like there was a few community members there, but like obviously because Chrome and Cocktails was there, but like we put limits on like
I remember. I was there.
yeah, you were there, but we put limits, but like we were like projected to sell out of Chrome like after day one. So I was like we had to like order more for the next day. And that was kind of very eye-opening because I was like, "Oh, this is moving." And it was people who weren't even in the community. It was like people who couldn't get the like dealers who couldn't get the allocation from who don't have a tops allocation. It was breakers who wanted to break. It was all this. So I was like on the phone with like because that was at the time we didn't really even have a B2B department with like what Tyler Schmidt is running now. I was like calling Trouty and I was like, Trout, can I like there's a breaker here who literally wants to break Chrome. Can I sell him a case? And he was like, what's his there like Trouty and is like looking it up. Rips and I are looking him up, like his Rips is there, and we're like, he's like, yeah, like he's gonna grow the brand. That breaker is now one of our best relationships. So it's just like how those things were just happening so quickly on the ground in Florida, like literally 2 weeks after kids were just telling Gary no into his face. They didn't
Yeah.
want a free pack. That pack is now worth a lot of money, and that just happened in such a short amount of time. I think it was just like that momentum of Chrome. And then come full circle, like we're in a Chrome planning meeting like 2 weeks ago because we moved quick in VeeFriends. I know all the announcements coming up, but we're in like a deep Chrome planning meeting.
Sure.
And we're just like, this is gonna be even crazier. Like this is gonna be wild. There's a lot gonna be happening and it's gonna be really exciting. I think just with just I know there's been some teasers, but with like retail expansion and B2B, like hobby shop expansion, and just what this product is going to do for just so many people to onboard is and bring into the community is just so exciting.
So exciting to see. I feel like the later, I don't know if I tweeted this or not, but like the longer this is goes, like the earlier it feels. Like
Yeah.
it's always like a refreshed, like we're just starting
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I'm sure you
I,
guys see that all the
yeah,
time.
like I
Feel
think
that.
like last year's Chrome was like crazy, but I don't know, I'm already feeling it. Like this year, I don't know if how it could be even crazier, but I'm just like I don't know. I think I'm expecting like Fanatics Fest and the national people to just like literally come swarm our booths. Just
Mm,
I'm like, right, it just like just because the Chrome is just that's where it's going to be really the only place besides retail or hobby shops like and stuff and breakers and things like that. Like that's where it's going to be for sale. So for the first time from like VeeFriends is going to be our event activation. So it's like super exciting and we're just like waiting for it to see like what ends up happening.
yeah, so amazing.
Yeah.
What a special time. And before we move on, I don't know if I've ever thanked you. Last you're talking about CollectCon Orlando. Shout out Cowbunga, Chris Chan fixed the whole mirrors VeeFriends package. And
Yes.
you were which was a very cool collab and experience. But you allowed him to bring a few friends on the bus for like, Gary's schedule is just so packed all the time and he has very few intimate moments to himself, but to allow us to come on the bus and share that, seeing him see that video for the first time, like in the bus in Florida
Mhm.
was very special. So,
Yeah.
and like I'm sure like having to play like Gary's publicist is not a fun thing either. On top of everything else you're doing.
Yeah, just only sometimes, only when his actual PR team is not on the road.
Yeah. But
Like I said, it's
anyway,
just
thank you
all the
because that,
different
that
ones.
that was super cool for
Yeah,
all of us that got to be involved.
absolutely. I know, I forgot about that. There was a lot going on that weekend. Wow,
It was
that was a big weekend.
it was jam packed. I
Yeah,
loved the open bar, Chrome and
yeah,
cocktails.
yeah. Crow and
Um,
cocktails. Yeah, that was a fun
but
event.
I hats off to you and all you do. Quick question before do a little rapid fire to end it here. What is your favorite character, by the way? Do you have a favorite character?
I do. I have two. I love, well, I guess, can you have, I say two. I love the Fearless Fairy. I know that people are loving Fearless Fairy. She's like a very popular one, but I do love Fearless Fairy and Innovative Impala.
Oh,
Innovative Impala is also my favorite.
that
But
makes a ton of sense after this last hour.
yes.
And another unfair question.
Okay.
Is there anyone out there on your team, in the community, whoever that you'd like to give some roses to, a quick little shout out?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Give some roses to flowers.
And Ren already got his, so we'll
Yeah,
skip him.
Ren got his. Who doesn't he like so we don't give him enough. I mean, let's see. What are we doing right now? I'm looking at my I think there's a lot. Actually, yes. There's people that you guys don't even know, I'm sure. I'm looking at my conversations right now on Slack. There's two people. JC and Matt Law. They are our operations and fulfillment team. And one are literally moving and overseeing and packing our whole Hudson Yards and Lion City move right now, on top of still fulfilling all live com orders and pushing all those out at the same time. And JC still manages the relationship of our day-to-day fulfillment center. So they wear many hats and don't nearly get enough flowers.
Mm.
They're very behind the scenes people that don't get the love that I think they well, I give them plenty of love, but they deserve a lot of love from I think the community because they are the ones that fulfill all the orders, and they also deal with all the complaints too. I mean, Katie's the face.
Yeah, that I was literally thinking the same thing.
Katie is incredible, and Dee Dee is incredible, but they're the ones who are actually troubleshooting
Mm.
everything, working with them and finding the answers. I can keep going on because that there's a whole. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. There's a whole team now that has been brought on product creation and fulfillment and operations, and um, which is led by Hanako, and it's a great addition to VeeFriends. And I mean, it's changing our business in incredible ways. And especially like for me who's been around for a while, like we didn't it's awesome to see the growth of that kind of side of the business.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, for those of you that check in on the VeeFriends like job vacancies, there's a little alpha in there too for like new positions. There's
There
some
is.
surprising ones in there.
And you should
But
keep checking. There's going to be a few more too. So I think that's really exciting for people to see as well. We're going to do some, and you'll see kind of the strategy behind kind of how the business is going to be growing, and how kind of Gary is seeing the growth of the business and priorities.
very cool to have such a great seat to watch us all getting built. Um,
Yeah.
and thank
I
you.
think for people like, but you too, like, I mean, for people who have been through it from the beginning, like, I'm sure, and also have like a good, like, a business lens, and from a business lens side of things, like it's probably really exciting to see from the start too. I think about it like I wish I was around in like to see Walt Disney from day
Mm,
one. Like I would have loved to see Walt, but like just him getting rejected, to then
right.
w watch him open up Disneyland and then Disney World, and he was like secretly buying plots of land in Orlando for 10 cents an acre, 5 cents an acre, and no one knew it was him. Like it's like into what the empire Disney is today.
Sure.
Like it's just like you just the company is 5 years in, and so
I know. And it's so well documented too in
yeah.
many ways. And it's a masterclass in marketing,
Hmm.
building a business. For those there are people that pay attention, like, oh, like they test out this fanatics thing and then the whatnot, and now it's like it worked, and now he's when he blasts something to his mainstream audience, that's how you know it's mega, and you guys have proved that with this one pillar. But fantastic job. Thank you so much
Thanks for
for
having me. This
coming
was
in. A quick couple minutes last of
yeah.
I call micro macro spitfire. I'm gonna ask you a whole bunch of quick ones. You could
Let's
answer
go.
in the macro, quick one word answers, or take out your microscope and elaborate. But here we go. Micro macro spitfire with Jen Luck. Here we go. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why.
Um, it's gonna be crazy. Miss Bechu, and because she put me in my place and taught me the most.
Is there a secret talent you have that most people don't know?
I'm very good at karaoke.
Ooh, all right. Now I have to ask a follow-up song. What's your go-to song?
What's Up by Four Non Blondes.
That's amazing.
Mm.
Clip it. Do you have a favorite physical V Friends collectible or like something from a show?
Um, I do have my physical collectible is not actually for sale. It's You can see it back there. It is a wooden replica of the swing
Viper.
from VCon. Yeah, but
Oh,
it's actually the swing from VCon 3 that the agency that built it made for me. So
that's
if you
amazing.
open that up, it's actually the swing. But yeah,
I love it.
I can show it. Hold on. This is probably, let's see. This is probably a little alpha, but well then mine is Lady Luck. So um but yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so this is my favorite collectible.
That is a one of one for sure.
It is one of one. Well, actually it's a one of three, but it's a one of one. Only one of one with Lady Luck on it.
Lady Luck.
But my actual favorite collectible from a show, let's see. What? I, you know what? This is probably really crazy, and it's because I won a competition as well. But I do love the David Mack blood cover that we did
Uh,
um,
Yeah, that's a
at your
sick one.
Con this past year.
Your favorite IP growing up as a kid?
Disney, shockingly.
Favorite Disney movie?
Little Mermaid. That's
Bougie
easy.
hotel or hiking, camping in the woods?
Bougie Hotel.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Ooh, can I do cocktail?
Sure.
Okay, cocktail.
What is if we're buying Jen Luck a drink? What is it
Yeah, some
on
sort of
this note?
tequila cocktail.
That's right. You said the tequila shot thing before.
Yep, yes.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
That's a hard question. Probably any Bruce Springsteen concert.
Oh, the boss. All right.
Probably, I've been to a few, but three, well, only three, but his one at MetLife Stadium, just because it's like at home, giant stadium.
Is the Miami VeeCon 2026 announcement something that is joked about internally or has never been brought up again?
Both. But
Okay.
yeah, both. I would say both.
Uh,
Depends on who you're talking to.
got it. Maybe a little later down the road, we'll dive into that. And has there been a favorite? I know you mentioned we talked about weekends, but has there been like a favorite event you just look back on, whether it's a small one like a Collecticon or a national that has been your favorite experience?
I still think it's VCon LA, just because it was like yeah, all around one of my favorites. Um, that probably, if I had to,
You guys were firing on all cylinders.
yeah, firing on all cylinders at that point. But that was a good one.
And lastly, I this is the first time I'm ever doing this, but I would
Okay.
love for you to ask a question that I'm going to ask the next person that works on the team in the next episode. This is the first
Let's.
time I'm ever doing this. This is
That's
VFam
a good
Sessions history.
one. Um, if you can go, since we're at 5 years, if you can go back, well, I'll ask the question regardless. Then I'm going to ask who you're interviewing next.
Okay.
If you can go back in the last 5 years and change one thing, what would you do?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And that can work for anybody. All right.
Yeah.
So we touched on this earlier before I go. May 3rd, 2025, Jen on her Twitter at Jen Luck 36. She says, I've refreshed X and I'm ready to go. Anyone that's listened this far, I literally, a few years ago, I had 55 VFam shirts made. I've literally one left. Anyone that goes to Jen's Twitter, likes that post, and comments, I know you've listened to this and you're going to be in the drawing for that shirt.
That's hilarious.
Uh, let's give that tweet some love from from last year, and we'll get you more in the VFam Twitter timeline. Jen, this is awesome. I know you're so busy, especially now. Thank you so much for your
Absolutely.
time, and I will see you on the road at some
Yeah,
point.
I'll see you at the National. I know, definitely at the National. And absolutely, thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right, you're the best. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.